What is consume? In the objective personality framework, there are 4 animals. I didn't come up with the name, get off of me. It's one of the 2 that relates to information. So how do you make sense of the world of what is going on? How do you filter information? So consume is one of them. And the opposite of consume is blast. Who the hell understood any of that? Hopefully you're still with me. First of all, right away, how do we convert these abstract things like consume and blast into things that we actually understand already? So for consume, let me give you my definition that I came up with all by myself. Consume is your personal discernment, your sense of taste, your personal understanding, where the filter or the decision maker is your personal experience. The opposite of that, blast, is an existing framework that you might have collected from another authority or someone else. Cool, so we can see how those are opposite. One is taking a lot of external stimulus and honing in personal tastes or reaction, and the other is taking a lot of external opinions and honing down a framework. And like we always say, everybody does everything. You can be fairly balanced between the 2, you'll have a preference, or you can be very imbalanced. In fact, the inspiration of this video was watching someone who's very imbalanced with consume in that they have it in their last 4th position. Let's actually watch that clip. This is Grimes. She is consume last. And this is her talking about how she found out that she was malnourished.
I was like, the only reliable food is spaghetti. So I was only eating spaghetti for like a year or 2 years. I only ate spaghetti. And then I was just like so sick and my hair actually stopped growing and I went to the doctor and the doctor was like, you actually are malnourished from not eating vegetables or meat and just eating spaghetti for 2 years. So, but yeah, because spaghetti is the only thing though, like in every city it's good.
All right, so what's interesting there is that I'm sure if you've been malnourished for so long to the point where your hair stops growing, there must have been a number of bodily signals that she must have been ignoring. But if you don't trust that internal discernment, in fact, even as she's talking about it, she's like, oh, another authority, the doctor told me I was malnourished. So that's a really good clip showing someone who has that personal discernment really low to the point where they're letting their routines override the reaction that they're getting in the moment from their body. And yeah, did I steal that clip from someone else, crop their face out and replace it with mine? Maybe. So one more point on this like routine thing versus reacting in the moment is key to knowing what mode you're in. If you're in that consume mode or you're in that blast mode. Again, sorry for the corny terminology. I did not come up with it. Someone I know who's consume blast, I won't say their name. She's like, I want to work on my consume. And I heard that it's a good idea to drink, 8 glasses of water a day. And so I set an alarm for every 2 hours to remind me to drink water. And I was like, Melanie, that sounds like you're creating a routine and you're relying on the routine to make sure your physical needs are met. The consume version of that is that, I check right now, today, in this moment, do I feel like drinking water? Even if I just drank water, you know what, today, right now, I'm going to drink 2 glasses. And you know what, I'm just going to skip it this time. That is honing in on and trusting your personal instincts or your personal feelings. And this is so crazy because like if you have it higher, and let's say if you're not consume last, you're not really going to understand that people actually ignore those feelings in their physical body. The fact that people have such a low volume knob to what they personally think or feel about something. And that's a good segue because it's not always just like your physical feeling, because there's 4 types of consume out there. Because you're either relying on what you personally think, like that's true or not true, that's stupid, that doesn't make sense, that makes sense, right? That's TI. Or you're like, I like it, I don't like it, I value this, I don't value this, it feels good, it doesn't feel good. And then you're taking in either extroverted sensing or you're taking in extroverted intuition. Let's look at all 4. So I think this lady, she is an ISFP. Basically, she has SEFI, consume, at the top and like double activated, which means she's blast class. The point is that she's a very pure example of this. And for her, it's like, you have to really look to what you feel. Do you feel comfortable in the situation? How do you feel right now? How do you feel right now?
People will talk about this bullshit of blurred lines, and I hate when people talk about blurred lines. It's yes or it's no. I need everyone watching this to realize if you're ever in a situation where you have made up your mind that it's not something you're feeling, you're not comfortable with it, you don't want to do it, you say you do not want to do it and you don't do it.
I'm going to make a separate video about this because I think this is like super important. Just the fact that whatever she talked about, she's a little bit taking for granted that someone in the moment, in like a difficult moment, is going to be able to rely on or get a very clear signal of like, I don't feel comfortable, I don't like this. Okay, it doesn't matter what I said 2 seconds ago or whatever, right? Let alone the fact that they will be able to verbalize it, right? That's separately. Even to get a clear signal from your own body that I don't like it, not everybody has that. That is not a very strong volume knob for everybody. And then moving on to sticking with FI, another type of FI consume is Rick Rubin. I think is an ENFP. Is there any FI? So you're still relying on that personal value, what I like and don't like. Let's hear actually Andrew Huberman talk about him first, and then we'll watch a clip of Rick as well.
Is that Rick, he's like a censor for music. When he talks about his taste, he's able, he has this incredible ability to really let things waft over him and experience them and go, yes, more of that and less of that. He's a conductor, and he can say more of that, do more of that.
He lets things waft over, that's consuming, right? It's waft over him and like feel more, less, good, bad.
It comes down to like a personal reaction to something. If I gave you two different foods and I asked you to taste them, you wouldn't have a hard time telling me which one you liked if you really liked one and didn't like the other. So if you had people around you saying, no, but this other one that you don't like, that's the good one, no one could convince you that the thing that tastes bad to you tastes good to you. It's such a simple idea, getting to what do I actually like? No second guessing. Understanding how you feel in the face of other voices without second guessing yourself. Know how you feel and own your feelings. And the key to that is not, I know, so I know what's right for you. It doesn't work that way. It's just, I know for me.
Do you play instruments?
Barely.
Do you know how to work a soundboard?
No. I have no technical ability.
So what are you being paid for?
The confidence that I have in my taste and my ability to express what I feel. It's like we make things and then we make it through our filter, our perspective. And then you receive it through your filter with your perspective. Mm-hmm. So even if we both like it, we probably don't like it the same way for the same reasons. We all have our own relationship to it.
Right. So that's what he really relies on. And again, Rick is another example of double activated, meaning he's blast last. So he's really relying on that ability to kind of like waft over, rely on his taste. And then you also have TI consume, which is like, does this make sense or not? Bill Gates is a good example of that. Again, double activated, TI and NE. And so what is he going to be doing? He's going to be filtering, does this make sense or not? Is this true or not? He says it's very difficult for him to read a book because even as he takes in every single point, it's like, nope, wrong, right, okay, maybe, no, yes.
If I disagree with the book, sometimes it takes a long time to read the book because I'm writing so much in the margin. It's actually kind of frustrating. Oh, please say something I agree with so I can get through to the end of this book.
And then lastly, you have ST consume. I'm an example of ST consume. An even better example is Alex Hormozi, which is filtering like, is this true or not? How do you know it's true?
I had a conversation with a young man yesterday who said, listen, I have demons. And I was like, bro, you don't have fucking demons. I was like, shut up. So when you say you have demons, what it really means, if I say, okay, what do you mean by that? Define that. Define having demons? It's just that people don't define words and they just shout them all over the place. Say it's stored in your body, it's energy. It's like no one even knows what the fuck that means. Like you're saying you're storing your emotional trauma from your father in your liver. Like I can just say words and make things up and get people to nod if I say them with conviction. It doesn't make it's true.
All right, as I'm editing this, I think there's an even better example of ST consume. That's Mike Israetel. He's not officially typed, but just watch.
I wasn't taking tons of stuff. I probably wasn't taking no more than what those baseball players were taking.
Let me tee off on this. If I had lots of money to bet, I would bet Ronnie's taking something like 5 to 10 times as much as those baseball players take.
Even mild dehydration can bring your metabolism to a screeching halt.
We're going to take this literally, as I assume it's meant. Imagine I just get a little dehydrated, and you know what happens to your boy's metabolism? That shit stops dead in its tracks. Do you guys know what happens when your metabolism comes to a screeching halt? Yeah, there's a term for that. It's called death.
First, most important thing you can possibly do to get your testosterone levels to where they should be is getting lean.
Not wrong. It will help, unless you get too lean.
Below 15% body fat.
Yeah, that's probably not true. Anywhere between 10 and 20% generally is the highest level of testosterone.
As far as the best foods to really build your diet on, I've even been experimenting with doing a little teaspoon of raw honey. When I have my chocolate at night, I'll do a little teaspoon of raw honey.
Scott, did you get, last night, I remember texting you a little bit, did you make sure to eat your chocolate?
No, but I did get my raw honey.
Thank God.
So anyway, hopefully that gives you a good overview of what consume is in normal English language. So that's understandable. The fact that We all need to be able to leverage our personal reactions to new stimulus. That's consume, but also, which we'll talk about maybe next time, maybe, how to shortcut that and leverage the experience of others and come to an even better response based on best practices. All right, so what I'm going to leave you with is a clip with Chris Williamson and Alex Hormozi, and they're both ST consume at the top, but Alex is double activated. So basically, he only has consume, let's say. Chris asked him, so what routine do you use to work out? And Alex's answer is like, I just do what I feel like, bro. I don't know, sometimes this, sometimes that. I have no routine. Watch that. I'll catch you guys next time.
Given that you do full body every day, do you cycle different exercises across the week?
Not a ton.
Do you do them across periods?
If I'm feeling it, I'll do that for a little bit. If I'm not feeling it one day, I do a different leg exercise. I just don't have a lot of rules.